sometimes I feel like a motherless
sometimes I feel
child.
Sometimes I feel sometimes I feel
like a
sometimes I feel
motherless
like a motherless
child. A
long way from
a home.
Sometimes I feel like I'm a long way from.
We're in Washington, D.C. at the Warner Theater for the first day of issue ceremony for the Dr. Maya Angelou Forever Stamp. As an author, poet, actress, dancer, and champion of civil rights, Angelou was one of the most dynamic voices in American and 20th century American literature. The book, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, an autobiographical account of her childhood, gained wide acclaim for its depiction of African American life in the South. Dr. Angelou received the National Medal of Arts in 2000, and in 2011, at a ceremony in the White House, President Barack Obama awarded her the Presidential Medal of Freedom. She continued to tour, speak, write, and teach until the end of her life. Over the course of her career, Dr. Angelou was awarded more than 50 honorary degrees, released several books of essays and poetry, and had a profound influence on American culture.
With the women's movement as it is, I think she was the first to realize the importance of women, and she wanted to impress upon women all that they could do. So, I mean, she was a role model way before it was popular. So, you know, her works, everything just made us more powerful as women.
So I'm Sydney Hill, Miss District of Columbia's Outstanding Teen, and I go to Duke Ellington School of the Arts here in Washington, D.C.
Today, there's a stamp coming out on Dr. Maya Angelou. What did she mean to you? What did she stand for?
Wow, Dr. Maya Angelou was such an amazing, strong African-American woman, and she's the reason why I'm able to shine intellectually and artistically here in this society.
When I was about 14 years old, my mother gave me a copy of I Know Why a Caged Bird Sings, and this is a book she told me to read, and she said it's going to impact your life. And at that age, I may not understand the significance of the book. But now, as an adult, I go back to the words in that book for strength, inspiration, and hope. And she's my favorite poet, and I just live by so much of what she has written my entire life.
Hello, I'm Sonia Jackson Miles, and I'm here with my sister, Carithia. And we are just so elated to be here for this amazing event. Dr. Maya Angelou meant so much to our community and to the world. You know, she was an example of what it means to really live. And so we're just honored to be here, supporting our sister Sophia as well.
Sophia A. Nelson has invited us here to experience this great, momentous occasion. And we are honored to be here and honored to support our friends. Because sisters lift up sisters.
That's right. The Woman Code, the Sister Accord. We love you.
Thank you.
Dr. Maya Angelou, we're very honored to be at this event to honor her. She was a spokeswoman not only for all African American people, but also all women and all people, regardless of your race, color, or creed. She stood for peace, justice, love, and she just had a way with words. She was just so very eloquent, so we could never, ever, forget and pay tribute, enough to honor this lady. And as you look around the room and all the people that are here today to pay their respects for what she stood for, that speaks for itself.
She's been honored with many awards, including the Langston Hughes Poetry Award, the Lucretia Mott Award. And I just want to tell you what Dr. Angelou said of Sonia Sanchez. Sonia Sanchez is a lion in literature's forests. When she writes, she roars. And when she sleeps, other creatures walk gingerly. So pleased to have you this morning, Sonia Sanchez.
I'll begin with her words.
We are a tongue folk, a race of singers and writers. Our lips shape words and rhythms which elevate our spirits and quicken our blood ellipses. I have spent over 50 years listening to my people. I write for the Black voice and any ear which can hear it. We can say anything that we want to say, but it's the prophets, the writers, the poets, the musicians, the artists who sing, who see, who soar. We love them. They come to us glittering like silver stones, their words, sounds, music so beautiful and prophetic that we catch them in mid-flight, swallow them whole. Their vision, their genius, a gift from the sea. Their lives vibrating words, songs, stories, their ideas changing the world, shifting the earth until it turns towards justice, peace, and beauty. We can say anything we want to say about those gatherers of beauty, rolling across the seas, earthbound though. These wearers of waves, we see them in the early morning dawn. We see them in the budding flowers. They speak a language. They play a sound that they inherited from the ancients. I have seen how our sister Maya crossed cities and countries to document our bones, how she stood tall as lightning, heard the trumpeters of death call racism, segregation, colonialism, greed, sexism, homophobia, ignorance, and her hands caught fire as she moved us away from graveyards to our own breaths. We remember the precision of her tongue sewing itself into the sleeves of history and change. Her poetry, prose, is a festival of beauty and bones, of eyelashes and guts, a collision of ocean and stars and breath. We hear the sound of rhythm on her teeth, the sound of music on her breath, as her writings exploded from her eyes, embroidered with pyramids. How to tell you about a woman carrying the signature of women in her veins. I say, listen to the great blues singer, Brother Montgomery, who said, we all come here naked and must make arrangements for someone else while you're here, not just do for self. And that's what our dear sister Maya did. She made arrangements for this prayer called You and Me and you and me. How to tell you about a woman whose words gave our eyes memory. I say, listen to her words. Summer, bent rain, moving inside rainbows. I say, listen. Her words carry the spirit of creation. Thank you.
The number one thing that I believe Dr. Maya Angelou taught us was to define yourself. Dr. Maya refused to be defined or limited by her past or her circumstance. She refused to stay in a cage of another human's making. She defined herself. She overcame her limitations, and she stretched herself to do more than just survive. Number two, raise your voice. She taught us to raise our voice. Her words endure even though she's no longer with us, because she dared to raise her voice and share her story. Number three, she taught us, and this was alluded to earlier, treat people well. One of her most endearing sentiments was that people never forget how we make them feel. Whenever we make people feel less than, we break something deep inside of them, and they may forgive us, but they'll never forget us. Number four, never give up on your dreams. Dreams are the desires of our soul dancing at night. Dr. Maya encouraged us to stay active and engaged with life long past our so-called prime. She taught us that dreams have staying power, that dreams can manifest in our lives long after we may believe they're gone. Keep dreaming. Dreams are oxygen to your soul. And finally, number five, I believe, and this is why I opened with my favorite quote from her. It's in my wallet. It's been there for 20 years, and it hangs on a wall in my home. Keep living. She encouraged us to simply keep going. to believe in second chances, to forgive generously, to open our hands, to throw something back at life, and most of all, to live. It has been my great honor to speak here today, and I hope we will all remember this. Surviving, yes, is important, but thriving is everything. Thank you.
You could not long be in the presence of Dr. Angelou without hearing her express her love for her grand, Colin Johnson. And as much as we all feel that we have lost something great when we lost Dr. Angelou, it is only Mr. Guy Johnson who can say that he lost his mother in that moment. The dancers from Duke Ellington School of the Arts began with a tribute, saying, "I feel like a motherless child." Mr. Guy and Mr. Colin Johnson have made it their work, despite being men in their own right, with their own accomplishments. Mr. Johnson himself, Guy Johnson, an author who remembers being part of the Harlem Writers Guild as a child, with people like James Baldwin, or as Dr. Angelou would call him, Jimmy Baldwin. Rosa Guy, his own mother. He is an accomplished author on his own. Standing at the Scratch Line is one of my favorites. And yet they have also made it their work, Guy Johnson and Colin Johnson, the son and grandson of Dr. Maya Angelou, to continue the legacy of Dr. Angelou's work through the Caged Bird Legacy work. I'd like to introduce you to the family of Dr. Maya Angelou, Guy and Colin Johnson.
I'd like to read something I wrote. In this time of chaos and conflict, toil and turmoil, faces of need stare back wherever the eyes are cast. One need not search to find the pain of hunger and fear. We're haunted still by the ills of our wayward past. Thus, there are those who find there's little reason to hope. They question with smirks and discount with cynical ease the uplifting ladders of our close-held faith and dreams, saying that these have no more substance than the gentlest breeze. For the unsustained, there is no rock on which they rely. They have no shield against the cold, probing hands of doubt. They waste the ticking moments of their days in routines, avoiding the dreams they know not how to bring about. I point to the life of the little black girl from Stamps, whose words and actions on this day we honor here, who marched past all the heartbreaks and the countless setbacks. Against hate and ignorance, she learned to persevere. The gentlest breeze grew in force and began to keen, far above the tortured earth upon which she trod. Yes, she believed in the evidence of things not seen, so she sent her prayers up to the very gates of God. For her faith was as solid as the old weathered rock. With heart in hand, she stepped out on his word and believed. She spoke out in clarion tones for justice and truth. And look at what the little black girl from Stamps achieved. She told us that we're more alike than unalike, that black or white, gay or straight, none should be rejected, that we need to stand tall, for we are made in God's image. We're all humans here, and that needs to be respected. She passed from this plane and is now in the firmament, but her lessons remain. Keep on reaching. Don't be coy. When you got, give. When you teach, when you learn, teach. You were paid for. And as important, never, never stop striving for joy.
I guess it's a miracle that the world is still on its axis, because in 2013, Essence Magazine brought together Nikki Giovanni, Maya Angelou, and Toni Morrison for a conversation that if you have not had an opportunity to read it, I tell you, you must read that conversation.
What makes a life extraordinary? Not just the travels the world over, nor the furs and jewels, maybe a commitment to caring, and certainly a desire to learn and teach. But maybe the most important ingredient to a caring life is self-examination, looking deep within ourselves to see what happened to us and what we did to ourselves. Looking at an ordinary life lived under extraordinary circumstances, laughing when scared, singing when lonely, loving when abandoned, yet never turning away from the future, never ceasing to be better, never shying away from the difficult, the dangerous, the delicate chores of living, that make a life extraordinary. That would make all of us a Maya.
The summer picnic fish fry in the clearing by the pond was the biggest outdoor event of the year. Everyone was there. All churches represented, as well as the social groups, Elks, Eastern Stars, Masons, Knights of Columbus, Daughters of Professional People, and all the excited children. Musicians brought cigar box guitars, harmonicas, and even bathtub basses. Pans of fried chicken covered with dish towels sat under benches next to a mountain of potato salad crammed with hard-boiled eggs, baked country hams aromatic with cloves and pineapple. On the barbecue pit, chickens and spare ribs sputtered in their own fat. Orange sponge cakes and dark brown mounds dripping Hershey's chocolate stood layer to layer with iced white coconuts and light brown caramels. Pound cakes sagged with their buttery weight. I'm not going to tell you about the fish. Tens of thousands of us readers continue to gather at that summer picnic where people work and play, shout criticism and delight, ease the ache in their bones, dance the stiffness from their legs, dress their flirty best, blink their pretty eyes, teach children their propers, discipline bad manners, stir up thought, make music and poetry such as this. My life ain't heaven, but it sure ain't hell. I'm not on top, but I call it swell if I'm able to work and get paid right and have the luck to be black on a Saturday night. Congregations of people actualizing Maya Angelou's vision of life, liberty, and the pursuit of joy inhabit the prose and poetry of this beloved author. As readers, we meet them in San Francisco, in Hawaii, in New York, in Cairo, in Ghana, West Africa, in Paris, in Moscow, in Oslo, in Los Angeles, in Harlem, straight to the steps of the United States Capitol, where on the pulse of one morning, a president of the United States from Arkansas was inaugurated. Yet, throughout this worldwide journey of 2 million words, only 4 questions repeat. These are the questions that the author addresses to herself and to each reader. Am I brave? Am I strong? Am I true? And do I fill the world with love?
Good afternoon, everyone. To our illustrious, beautiful First Lady. to Guy and Colin Johnson and the whole Angelou family, all of us here. And to all of you who are friends and admirers of our beloved Maya, welcome. I'm so excited to be here. I have to tell you that when Henry Louis Gates first called me several months ago to say that there was going to be a Maya Forever stamp, I literally LOL'd. I mean, for real, because I knew that that is exactly what Maya would have done. She would have heard the news, and she would have called me up, and she would have said, babe, in that beautiful way that she does, they're going to have a stamp with my name and face on it. How incredible is that? Upon hearing that news, I did my own. Incredible that this has happened. So thank you, United States Postal Service and our Postmaster General. She would have laughed out loud because of the thought of everything that's been said here today, of her young self being raised in a harsh and often unforgiving South of the 1940s and 50s, and all that that meant being a Negro girl, of coming to understand the full meaning of why the cage bird really did sing and beat its wings, and knowing all too well the heart of a woman whose song has been flung up to heaven, all the way from Stamps, Arkansas. Oh, yes, she'd get a big kick out of this moment today, being honored and commemorated by the USPS with her own stamp for this big, bold, and bodacious life that she dared to live in a way that dazzled and gave meaning to all of us who knew her and millions who didn't. On this past Saturday, her birthday, April 4th, it would have been her 87th birthday. And I sat under my favorite tree and read her complete poetry, the newly released book of her complete poetry, and smiled at reconnecting to some of her delicious rhythms and rhymes. One of my favorite, Alone. Lying here thinking last night how to find my soul a home where water is not thirsty and bread loaf is not stone. I came up with one thing, and I don't believe I'm wrong, that nobody, but nobody can make it out here alone. I miss her so, and those of you who've lost those who are close to you know that that missing comes at some of the most unexpected times. Obviously, that first year, you've got to get through the big things like Christmas and Thanksgiving and Easter. But sometimes at the most unexpected times, like when I discovered this great new book and I wanted to call her up and tell her and realized I can't make that phone call. Or getting the cabbage and ginger recipe just right with only a hint of lemon, just like she taught me. I miss her because she was always there in the ways that mattered most. And I'm honored to be here, to stand as her daughter, sister, friend at the unveiling of the Maya Forever stamp. She was a phenomenal woman. And if she were here, I could hear her saying, babe, pretty women wonder where my secret lies. Because I'm not cute or built to suit a fashion model size. And they said, girl, you telling lies. I said, no, it's the reach of my arm. It's the span of my hips. It's the curl of my lips, because I'm a woman. Phenomenal woman.
Today, Dr. Angelou receives the Postal Service's highest honor, the commemoration of her image on a United States postage stamp. And yet her life, so meaningful and varied, can hardly be contained within the four corners of a stamp. As was true in her life, it's the words that jump out and catch your attention and make you think about the person who shared them with us. A bird doesn't sing because it has an answer. It sings because it has a song.
Although the stamp attributes the quote, "A bird doesn't sing because it has an answer, it sings because it has a song," to Angelou, the Washington Post reports the quote is from Joan Walsh Anglin's book of poems, A Cup of Sun, published in 1967. U.S. Postal spokesman Mark Saunders stated, "Had we known about the issue beforehand, we would have used one of Angelou's many other works. The sentence held great meaning for her, and she is publicly identified with its popularity." The Postal Service printed a limited edition of 80 million stamps and has no plans to produce new stamps. So on that note, customers have until June 7, 2015 to order the first day of issue postmark by mail. Affix the stamps to envelopes of your choice, address the envelopes to yourself or others, and place them in a larger envelope addressed to Maya Angelou Stamp Special Events, P.O. Box 92282, Washington, D.C. 20090-2282. After applying the first day of issue postmark, the Postal Service will return the envelopes through the mail. There is no charge for the postmark up to a quantity of 50. For more than 50, customers are charged 5 cents each.
I was Dr. Angelou's banker for about 15 years from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and she was a phenomenal woman. She was a woman of high stature and high morals, and we just loved her to death. She's just like a mom to me, and we really, really, really loved her dearly. Also, too, she was a great civil rights leader. She did a whole lot for this country, and really we were proud that the U.S. Postal Service decided they would honor her in this fashion.
What do you think of the stamp?
Oh, the stamps is awesome, great. You know, I'm glad to see that they unveiled a stamp for her, you know, and her name and her picture and all that there. You know, I mean, that's really an honor.
I'm Kristal Hart reporting from Washington, D.C., here from the Warner Theater on the Dr. Maya Angelou Forever Stamp. Hope you've enjoyed the show, and thanks for watching.
God of our wearies, God of our silent tears, thou who hast brought